Ladies and gentlemen, as you see, I have on my Olympic gear. Why? Well, because today we have an Olympian in the building.
Good start from Roberts. Roberts, is he gonna get it?
When is the moment where everything started to turn around and you started to say, oh shoot, this might be my thing?
Yeah, there was still a lot of like identity issues I was having, like coming from high school, being that guy in track and field. I was just known for sports. My whole family was sports, and then having that injury and all that just stripped away. I'm still trying to figure out like who I even am, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
You know?
What did you find out? What did you learn about yourself?
I mean, I learned.
There's a lot of things a lot of people don't know about the Olympics. Olympic Village. There's a lot of things people don't know. I was at the Olympics.
Yeah.
A lot of people were disappointed in me because of the ceremony. And they were like, how can you support the Olympics? And all the backlash. And I don't know, did y'all feel any of that?
Oh, 100%.
Really?
100%. What shocked me the most in the whole experience was...
This is The Deep End with Lecrae.
Ladies and gentlemen, as you see, I have on my Olympic gear. Why? Well, because today we have an Olympian in the building. I'm excited because I was at the Olympics in 2024, and a lot of people had issues, and there was all kinds of controversy, but the believers was in the building. And one of them is with us today. We have a two-time Olympic medalist here with us, Daniel Roberts, in the building, man.
Yes, sir.
You know, you're a hurdler.
Yeah.
And, you know, a lot of people don't realize how hard that is, you know what I'm saying? But you not only, like, participate in a very difficult sport, you made it all the way to the Olympics.
Oh, yeah.
And then not only did you get to the Olympics, you got a medal.
Gotta be a medal, man.
You know what I'm saying? So I just want to know off top, before we even get into the backstory, like how, like, what is that feeling?
Oh my God.
Is it because you're training so hard to get to the Olympics? So
Yeah.
first of all, what's the feeling of getting to the Olympics?
Honestly, I would probably agree with you. Like the best feeling was just making the team.
Okay.
Like making the team, because Team USA is the hardest team to make by far.
Oh,
like
yeah.
all three of the Americans in the 110 hurdles were in the Olympic final. All three of us.
Dang.
And then two of us got 1 and 2. So it's like the Team USA is stacked in that way. So making the team, this is my second team, thankfully. I've been blessed enough to make another one, but it's always a great feeling. Like I don't think the first one felt any better than this one did, or vice versa. It was just amazing when I crossed that finish line.
Yeah. And then so comparatively, like, no, we're gonna say that. Cause I got some questions about the medal and the whole nine. But let's just talk about like because a lot of people don't understand what it takes to become an Olympian. Like everyone thinks they're fast, everyone thinks they can do these things. Did you grow up in an athletic family?
Oh yeah, for
Okay,
sure.
so what's that like? Now where'd you grow up?
I was born in Atlanta, grew up in Fayetteville, Georgia.
Okay.
For most of my life, we moved around a little bit. I went to 3 different high schools, but my dad was a coach, track coach, football coach. My oldest brother played D1 football. My sister played D1 volleyball. My other brother played NAIA football. So it's a very athletic family, and we all did multiple sports in high school. So it was always a thing. Like sports was just in my DNA at that point. And I'm the youngest boy, so I was watching all them do their thing growing up and just aspiring to be like them. But yeah, man, it's always been a part of my entire life, just straight sports from the jump.
How much is DNA and how much is just like, this was just drilled, y'all had to get out there and compete, and like, what's the ratio, what you think?
Dang. It's hard to say, bro, because, I mean, you obviously, you see people that are like, oh, he's so athletic, he's so talented, but they don't really have the drive, they don't care.
Okay.
And then you have people who like, mediocre talent, but they working hard as a mug. Like, I mean, when I think of it, I think of like Tom Brady. Like to me, he's probably the least athletic looking person.
Yep.
But the amount of work he put for his craft, and now he's like one of the greatest ever to do it.
Okay.
So I would say maybe like 50-50.
Okay, so
it's a lot of work, especially to become an Olympian. A lot of work, but at the same time, you got to have a little,
Yeah, some
Yeah, a little extra.
a little genetics. A little genetics, a lot of work.
Yeah,
But so like growing up in that household, Was there pressure? What was that like?
Honestly, no, it wasn't pressure. I think we did sports just because we were around it.
Okay.
And my parents did kind of want us out the house, so maybe that type of thing. It wasn't like you got to do this, like you got to go pro, you got to get, you got to go to school, do sports. I feel like at a very young age, know that if I wanted to go to college at all, I was going to have to get a scholarship just because like our financial situation wasn't set up for my parents. There's no way they was going to be able to pay for me to go to college. So that was a known thing growing up. But outside of that, my parents, they always just supported us, man. Above all else, they taught me from a very young age that no matter what I did, that God always had to be the center. So it just happened to be that I'm a Olympic athlete. And
so you're watching your siblings. You got mom and dad at the house. Mom and dad are like, look, we can't pay for you to go to school. You got to get a scholarship. Your siblings are getting these scholarships.
Yeah.
So sister gets a D1 scholarship in volleyball, your brothers, football. Do you feel pressure or do you feel like I got this in the bag?
Honestly, I feel like mentally, I never felt any pressure. It was more like a not necessarily necessity, but it was expected.
Okay.
Like for me in my mind, like I expected myself to get a scholarship, no matter where it was at. I expected myself to turn pro.
Okay.
And I expected to make them the big team. Like all those things were dreams, but also they were like expectations. There was no like plan B. Like that was it for me.
And you just mentioned like your parents were instilling like this faith element into you.
Oh, yeah.
Was that like, did you grow up embracing that, or did it take time for you to like embrace the faith component? Like, what's that journey looking like for you?
I definitely grew up embracing it. I was never like a rebel child or anything like that. I embraced it, but it took me a while before I could say that my faith was for real my own, and like it was something that I read my word. I had my quiet time on my own, not just praying with my parents at dinner or whatever like that. It was a while before I got into the rhythm of knowing like this is a relationship. It's not just I say I'm a Christian and that's it, because I went to church growing up. So it's like probably not until like 8th, 9th grade, close to high school, where I was like, this is me. This is more than just sports.
What happened? Like what made you come to that realization?
Honestly, people ask me that all the time, and it wasn't just a moment thing. I think it was just the process of me getting older and maturing and seeing different interactions with friends, and obviously growing, getting close to high school, like 9th grade. I feel like that's a big time for a young kid. And I felt like God was just working on me that whole time. Like I said, I was never a rebel child or nothing like that, but growing up, I always felt like some type of presence, some type of pull in that direction. And I feel like at that point in my life, I was just ready to really like dedicate my life to God. Yeah.
And we're going to talk about some of the ups and downs with that journey, because, there's a lot of, as you get older. Yeah. But before you even get into that, I'm curious, like, you're obviously a standout in school, in terms of sports. Yeah. Your whole family's a standout, right? When did you know, like, oh, I could be professional at this? Like, when did that become a reality in your mind?
Well, it was always a dream. I would say the dream started in probably 8th and 9th grade. Okay. But it wasn't until probably maybe sophomore or junior year where I was like, dang, I'm like for real really good. And I'm progressing. Yeah. It wasn't so much that like the times I'm running right now, I could be pro. Like, it wasn't that. Okay. It was like I saw the progressions from my freshman year to my sophomore year, then my sophomore year to my junior year. I'm like, dang.
Was there like a race or a meet or something where you was like, oh shoot, like I did that?
I think my entire junior year, honestly, every single race.
This man said the whole year.
No.
He said, it's like every race in the junior year, because I was killing it.
It was just mind blowing. Like I think I opened up, like my first race of the year, my junior year, was faster than my fastest race the year before. So it was like, dang. And then maybe not every meet, but I was just running faster throughout the whole year. Yeah. And then running against the top guys.
In the nation?
No, in the state. In the state, state of Georgia. At that point, honestly, I didn't know much about like the national like track and field, how you can do like USATF, AAU. I wish I knew more. I would have did more growing up. But at that point I was just local.
Well, how was you getting faster? Was it your diet? Was you working out in the summer? Or what was happening? Like, how was you just getting faster?
I mean, I was getting stronger. Obviously, just growing.
Okay.
I was always a tiny kid. Like even now, I struggle putting on weight.
Yeah.
So I just naturally is getting stronger. I did a lot of studying growing up. My dad, like I said, my dad is a coach.
Okay.
So he always like pushed that side of it, like watching film.
What kind of coach?
Study your craft. He did football and track. Basketball. He coached everything.
He's still in Atlanta?
No, now
Okay.
he's at an NAIA school in Mount Vernon.
Okay.
So it's
In New York?
No, Mount Vernon, Georgia.
Oh, Mount Vernon, Georgia.
It's way down there.
Okay.
Close to Savannah.
I was gonna take my son over there. I was like, where he at?
Oh yeah.
Okay,
But no, he's down there.
so dad was a coach, so that got you like
Yeah. And
Okay.
he pushed like the watching film, like study these guys, like Aries Merritt, Alan Johnson, like the OGs, like study their
Did he get on your nerves, or were you like, whatever you say, Dad? Was there tension, or was it like, yes, sir?
I don't think it was tension. When it came to track and field,
Yeah.
it was never tension.
So you just believed him?
Just because I love track. Like
Okay.
from the jump, like all my siblings, my dad forced them to do it, but like I wanted to do track. Like I loved it.
Okay.
I mean, I did the other sports too, but they didn't enjoy it like I did.
Yeah.
And I think that's what kind of adds to the success that I've had. Just I really love what I'm doing, to be honest.
Yeah. I'm curious, like, you know, when you start out early like that, you know, and you're like, okay, this is what I really want to do. Like, are there any, like, was it just tunnel vision, or were there ever moments of distraction? Like, maybe I could do, or maybe I should, or was it just always tunnel vision?
I think the moment that I decided track and field was going to be the thing,
Okay.
it was tunnel vision.
Okay.
But before, like I think that was maybe around 8th or 9th grade that I realized,
Yeah.
like I'm not that big. Like I love football. Football was my first love. Like
Okay.
I wanted to go to the NFL. That was the thing.
Yeah.
But growing up, I was so tiny. I was like scared going to games because I'm small. Like I'm finna get hurt.
What position was you playing?
Usually receiver
Okay.
or like corner, something like that.
Got you, speed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
speed, exactly. So, but no, once it was track and field, it was track and field all the way. Like
Yeah.
I was super locked in.
Reason why I like that is because I think a lot of people, even if it doesn't pertain to sports, a lot of people are just kind of like all over the place.
Yeah,
And
for sure.
I do think that it's important for us to like have a vision and be like, all right, because especially when you're navigating your faith, it's like you can offer something to like, okay, Lord, this is what here it is, and I really want to go in this direction. Because I was the same way. Like, it was like, nah, I know I'm going to be in the music industry.
Yeah.
Like, it was no like, well, maybe I'll be a doctor. It was
exactly.
nah, this is it. And I think that's how you get your 10,000 hours.
100%.
You get good at it.
Yeah.
And the whole nine. So now you get to high school, you killing it, right? And then injury comes your way. So what was it, the ACL, MCL, PCL? So you tore them all.
ACL, LCL, meniscus, and hamstring, partially torn PCL, all at the same time, one time.
How did this happen?
This was in a football game.
Okay. So
I mean, honestly, that whole situation, because that had been my senior year. But I was at a new school in Hampton. They just opened up. So the first year I was there was my junior year. Playing football. It's cool. Didn't win a single game. The team was bad. Like we was really bad. No wins the first season. Going into my senior year, I remember having a conversation with my parents, like, I want to still play football because I made this commitment to the team. Like, I don't want to just leave them out there. Even though we was trash. But I was the best player by far. And at that point, I was quarterback at this point because I had the best IQ as far as football goes. And it was just needed for the team to kind of be cohesive. So yeah, I was telling my parents I didn't want to leave the team out dry. And then obviously it's like 5 or 6 games in, and that happens. Like I tear everything.
What's the play? Like, how does this go down? Like, walk me through this.
We was running the option. We was an option team, obviously.
Okay.
So I was running. Somebody grabbed my jersey. I mean, at this point, again, the team was very bad. I keep putting emphasis on that. Our O-line.
The O-line didn't give you no
that's what I'm saying.
protection.
Like,
It was like, there you go. There goes the quarterback right there.
So I get the snap and I'm taking off like maybe 3 steps and someone's grabbing at my jersey. And I'm like trying to like almost like whip them off, like swing them around a little bit. But this foot like slips and someone's coming from the front and they just like direct line and I just like kind of folded over them. So they like hit it this way to where my thing like bends up. Yeah, it was bad. It was bad. But it just happened so quick. I don't even remember in the moment like feeling pain. It was just like heat. It just felt really hot. I knew I couldn't like get up or walk like instantly. But like in that moment, honestly, I was thinking more about track in my future than actually what was going on. I was like, dang, am I still going? Because this is before I signed to a school. So it was like, dang, am I still going to have scholarships? Am I still going to be able to go to school at the next level? So many things going through my mind. But yeah, it was a crazy moment.
So how did you get through that? Like, what was the process of getting through that? Like, was dad praying for you, walking? Like, how are you? Because I can imagine something like that is threatening your whole future.
Exactly.
And now you're young, so you're probably thinking the worst. So what's happening? You in the hospital, and what's going through your brain?
The crazy part is because of this was a Friday night football game, and it was an away game for us. So I don't think I got into an actual hospital to see what was going on until I think it was the next Monday. So I think I went into the locker room. I was in there crying. Dad came in there, head coach came in there, that type of thing. And I think that was like right before halftime. So we got another half of the game. It flew by to me though. And then we're leaving. I'm on the bus just in pain, sitting there, getting home. Couldn't even barely take off like my football pants because like my knee was so swelled up. Everything was just so bad. And then at that point, it's just a waiting game because we called and they said we couldn't get you in until Monday. So the whole weekend, I think I went to church on some crutches. No brace or nothing, just everything tore, just crutching around.
They still made you go to church.
I had to go to church. That was not an option. But then we finally get in there. So they said, they looked at everything and they found out like the way things were torn, we had to have 2 separate surgeries. They couldn't just do one and fix everything because the ACL, I think, is on this side, and the LCL and the hamstring both are on this side. So I have a huge scar on this side of my leg. They had to go in that way, do that, and then come back. I think it was like a month later to do the other one. Yeah, honestly, like that was a big, obviously like physical hurt, physical pain, but I feel like the struggle in that moment was more mental than anything. Like the physical, like you said, I was so young, like my body was gonna bounce back pretty well with that, like having rehab and treating it right, eating right. But mentally, man, that was a hard time. Real hard time.
Are you processing your faith at this point in time at all? Are you like, God, just fix it? Or are you just like...
No, it wasn't like that. It was, I won't say I was like 100% sure, like, oh, I understand, like, God, I know exactly why you did this. I wasn't saying that, obviously, but it was like, okay, this happened, and I'm gonna trust you with what's about to go down next. Like, it wasn't a big, like, oh God, why is this happening to me now?
Okay.
Like, I was very much positive, very much optimistic, but at the same time, there was still a lot of like, what if I can't run the way I ran before? Like just physically, I just can't, no matter how hard I try. Or what if like I just don't ever reach the potential, the dreams and the goals that I had in mind leading up to this moment. So
what's that journey like? That journey back? What's that like? Is it like
it was long?
It's like those videos where you see the people like the Rocky music and you just like doing your rehab and you know what I mean? Like
it's a little bit of that. But I feel like those videos make it look too good. It's a lot of long nights, early mornings. The rehab process alone was super tough. I don't know if you've ever had surgery like that, but it's rehab like that is just, you're waking up early, going to see the therapist, and they're like pretty much like forcing your knee to bend. Like it's not comfortable. It's very painful. Like you go on a machine and the machine is like bending your knee because you don't have the strength to do it right now. Yeah. Just so you have the range of motion. And then after you do get the range of motion, you gotta start trying to strengthen it back up. So you're doing all this weight room stuff, and the leg is so weak at that point. Like even running, like you're running with a limp, even walking with a limp. I feel like I probably still walk with a limp a little bit now. Just like, it's just been such a long process. I still have some problems with the leg sometimes, but that's another story. But yeah, it was like probably 3-4 years before I felt like I wouldn't even say 100%, when I felt like I could compete the best that I could compete at.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
So you rehab, you get your scholarship.
Yes.
It works out.
Yes.
Now, while you're in college, are you thinking about being an Olympian?
No.
So what are you thinking about in college? What's the...
I mean, only because of the situation and how things went down. Like,
Okay.
I feel like if I came in healthy, came in like top recruit in the nation because I was running real fast, it might have been different.
Okay.
But I came in like, I didn't run track my senior year because of this, obviously. So I had my junior year, a whole year pretty much off from track, and then I'm going to a freshman in college. And if you don't know, in college, the height of the hurdles go up 3 inches. So I had to adjust to a different height, just to being alone in college, a different training, a lot more weights, getting stronger, different everything. Like I'm by myself at this point. So I'm just trying to adjust. I'm just trying to get right. I'm trying to get ready to be the best I can be like this freshman year in college. And it's going well, like it's going solid. And then I think it was in practice one day, like after the indoor season, I broke my arm going over some, not the hurdles that we ran, but like the small, like wicket hurdles.
Yeah.
Like you just, for training type stuff. And I like tripped over one and broke my arm. And I was just like, again, bro? Like, jeez, come on.
You got the hardest journey. It's like...
But it's like, I thought, because things were going well, I had my first 3 indoor meets, and I wasn't running crazy fast, but I was improving. I was like, every meet, it was faster. I was like, all right, cool, I'm good with it. I'm seeing improvement, I'm cool. And then I break my arm, and I'm out for the rest of the indoor season. So I'm like, dang. And that's another, I think, a month or 6 weeks out. Just the way I broke it, it was broken in a place there's no way I could run without like allowing it to heal the right way.
Yeah.
So that was what I say, 6 weeks of just sitting out from training again. So now outdoor season starting back up and I'm getting back into shape. Freshman year was cool. It wasn't nothing crazy. I didn't make it to nationals or anything. I was super upset about that. I think I went home like the day after our regional meet because it was in Kentucky where I went to school, University of Kentucky, and we hosted it there. I think I went home like the next day because my parents was there, so I just drove back with them. I was so fed up. Like I was just home for the summer.
What kind of encouragement? What did you need to hear at that point in time to like help you process and get through that?
I don't even know, bro. What I needed to hear. I mean, if I was to tell myself something now, like me myself, go back in that time and tell myself, just be patient. I feel like, I mean, in life, in the walk of faith, as you know, but also in sports, like patience. You got to be patient, bro. Not everybody's story is they're gonna be LeBron James and go pro out of high school and be the biggest name. You know, sometimes it's gonna take some time.
Because no one would have ever assumed you be an Olympic medalist at this point in time in your journey.
Yeah.
Now that's really interesting. You know what else is interesting? Is ad-free content. Like not having this interview interrupted by ads. And that's what I believe you want. The way that happens is by you subscribing to BSIDE, where you will get seamless ad-free content and you'll be able to enjoy this interview along with tons of others without any interruptions. So you done broke your arm, you done tore your leg in half, you're on the road to recovery, and then now you are disciplining yourself. You know, when is the moment where everything started to turn around and you started to say, oh shoot, like I might, this might be my thing.
Yeah. I would say definitely my junior year.
Okay.
The first couple years, like I was saying before, was a lot of just building back up, like getting back in the rhythm of like training and being in college, like the adjustment to the 42 inches hurdles. But also in that moment, I didn't say this before, but there was still a lot of like identity issues I was having, like coming from high school, being that guy in track and field. I was just known for sports. My whole family was sports. Like that was just my entire identity. And then having the injury and all that just stripped away. So at that point, those next 2 or 3 years, I'm still trying to figure out like who I even am, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
You know, outside of track and field.
Yeah.
Because I've experienced not having it for a whole year.
What did you find out? What did you learn about yourself?
I mean, I learned that no matter how big your goals are, God wants you at the end of the day. No matter if your goal was to be a janitor and that was your goal, you want to live your life that way for the rest of your life. Mm-hmm. God wants you in your heart at the end of the day. No matter what, everything else is cool. And a lot of that is more selfishness, if I'm being honest, like my goals and dreams. And it was just hard. I mean, honestly, that's something I'm still like battling with. Like, I have these dreams, I have these goals, but is that more important to me than my relationship with God and spending time in his presence, you know?
Yeah.
So in that moment, I think my junior year, I was going into that year and I was like, Lord, like, no matter what happens on the track, I'm going to just give you my all this year. And then that was my best year by far, like, not even close. I think I actually was running a personal best, like, every meet indoors. Tied the collegiate record indoors and outdoors. And then I turned pro after that year. Made my first USA team that year. Won US Nationals. Yeah, it was just crazy, bro.
Just when the Rocky music started
That's
playing.
what I'm saying. Like, it was just crazy because I like remember so clearly like the beginning of that season. Like, God, no matter what happens this year, I'm gonna give you my all. Like, I'm not gonna play with you. Like, I knew at this point, like this is a gift that God's given me. I knew that running this is what I'm gonna be doing. Like, this is what I'm doing. This is the gift I have, and this is what I want to use to glorify God. And I don't think I was playing with it before, but I just wasn't giving it my all, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, I knew it was serious. Like, I always loved track, but I could have given more, you know?
Yeah.
So at junior year, I was like, you got it all. Bro.
It's not like you gave it
all.
to him too. Like, all right, this is not who I am, but this is what I do. And if I'm going to do it for your glory.
Exactly.
It reminds me of, because I was in Samuel, it reminds me of the prayer of Hannah. And Hannah's like, wants a baby so bad. I want a baby, I want a baby, I want a baby. And then finally she's just like, I can't have no baby. She's like, well, you know what, God? If I do have one, it's yours. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
and God's like, oh,
exactly.
you about to have a baby.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Because it's not for you now.
And that's kind of what I was going on before. Like, it's, at the end of the day, no matter, it's not about so much what we dream for or what we want, but as long as God has our heart, then he has everything else. And that's when a lot of times he's so gracious. Like, he's still going a lot of times give you the things that you want.
Yeah.
As long as he knows he has your heart.
Yeah. That's
So,
good.
Yeah.
So let's fast forward a little bit. Now, like you said, national team, the Olympics is now on the horizon.
Yeah.
So what goes into like, all right, I'm about to train to become an Olympian? What's the difference between that training and the training that you have been doing?
I mean, the biggest difference is, one, I'm not a college student no more at that point.
Okay.
So it's like, I can dedicate like my whole life. I can dedicate everything to this, you know? So I'm not worried about staying up late to finish a paper, going to study hall. I'm just watching film, making sure I'm eating at the right times, practicing, rehabbing, recovering, all that stuff. I feel like that's the biggest difference. Training-wise, a lot of it is the same as you do in college. When you have a college coach that knows the professional system, a lot of that is the same. But the biggest difference is just you have more time to actually dedicate to study and really like perfect your craft.
Now, I'm curious too. You said you turned pro a lot. When you turn pro as an NFL player, you get a lot of money. What's the difference now? People don't know about these Olympians out here. They don't know turning pro in these sports. So how are you surviving? A lot of, it's like some people be having a part-time job and what's that looking like for you? Yeah,
I'm glad you brought that up. I mean, for me, I was blessed coming out of college. I got a sponsorship with Nike. I think it was maybe a couple months after I finished college, and I got that.
Okay.
But that's because I was one of the top in the world, like in my event, not just in college. And a lot of people just aren't in that situation, and they just aren't.
Does that partnership mean you ain't got to work no more, or does that part like?
Yeah. No, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's not nowhere comparable to like NBA, NFL, MLB, but this is my job.
Okay.
I do track and field.
Okay. That's great. So you can pay your rent and run track.
Amen.
Okay. So because a lot of people, you know, that, but you have a unique story because you was one of the top dogs.
Yeah, exactly.
Some people do get
Exactly.
sponsorships, but it doesn't cover
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
So you was really blessed. But I'm curious, like, now you have all day to train. What's the discipline like as an Olympian? Like, what is that like? Like, walk us through, like, hey, what's up? What was an average day like for you on your road?
Okay. I think an average day is just wake up.
What time? What time
Maybe
you waking
around.
up?
I'm trying to think. It depends, but I would say like 6:30.
Okay.
I like to wake up and have like a little bit of time so I can cook breakfast, eat breakfast before I go to the weight room, have my quiet time, that type of stuff. So maybe 6:30. Have weights at like 8. Finish up there at like 9:30 ish.
Okay.
Already packed my snacks, so I have some snacks before. Head to practice. Practice is around 11 at that point, I think. And then practice from 11 to, depends on the day, but 2, 3 o'clock.
And this is
depending.
just running.
I mean, you're not just straight running the whole time.
That's what I'm saying. What is practice like? What are you doing? Like,
Honestly, for track and field, the warm-up is the longest thing. The
Okay.
warm-up is usually going to be a smooth hour.
Okay.
Maybe an hour and a half. Like, you're
Okay.
just taking your time through the warm-up, like making sure everything's good so that you can...
don't get injured.
Yeah, and don't get injured, and you can run full speed and, like, get quality work in.
Okay.
The workouts themselves usually, again, depending on the day, can be, like, 30, 45 minutes
Okay.
max, including, like, rest and everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, do that and then cool down. After that, usually going and get some type of rehab, whether that's cryo or seeing a chiropractor, massage. And then I'm home and it might be 5, 6, 7.
Okay.
I'm eating dinner and I'm going to sleep. So it's like a full day usually.
Yeah.
Usually, if you're doing it right.
And are you like one of the, like, were you like super disciplined, or you like, man, I might be up till midnight on the game, or like, you know?
Nah, I'm not really a big gamer. If we was gonna stay up late, it's just me and my wife just watching maybe a show or something like that.
Okay.
It's never not gaming, not no more. Bro. I used to be a gamer back.
No,
in
I'm just
my early
curious, like,
days.
because you know, there's some people who got like, oh, it's Mamba mentality, bro. This is the only way you gonna get here to this level. And then there's some people who are like, I mean, because we're gonna get into this too. Because then there's the people who party their way all the way to the end, and you're just like, how?
Yeah, no, 100%.
You know what I'm saying? But
100%.
matter of fact, let's get into that just a little bit. No, sincerely, because I mean, I just like being at the Olympics, right? A lot of people, there's a lot of things a lot of people don't know about the Olympics. Olympic Village, there's a lot of things people don't know. You know what I'm saying? So, like, there's folks who get into Olympic Village and that's just like, they're like, I don't know if I'm ever gonna be here again. So
yeah, that was it. That was their goal.
it's a party 24/9. It's like, how can I'm going over here, I'm going over there.
Yeah.
Like, what's your temperature when you're in that environment?
In the village, oof. I mean, I try to, even like outside of the Olympics, just as a professional athlete, I try to still enjoy life. Like,
Okay.
the life that I'm living is not anything anybody in my family has ever seen, not anything I ever dreamed of. Like, traveling around the world and seeing a bunch of different countries, connecting with the people that I've been able to connect with.
Yeah.
So I try to like live in the moment a little bit and still enjoy it without being so strictly Mamba mentality where I just can't enjoy life at that point, you know?
Yeah.
But in the village, I think I was enjoying it. It wasn't like I'm here for get a gold medal and that's it. I'm sleeping and I'm going, you know?
Okay.
It wasn't like that because we was there for, I think, a whole week before I even ran, something like that. 2 weeks maybe. It was a while. So we had time to kind of just get settled in.
Yeah.
But when I say I was enjoying it, I was just like enjoying seeing the people like outside. I wasn't going to like parties or nothing. I was just out in the village, seeing folks, chilling at the coffee spots, like just meeting
like a
people.
vacation.
Yeah, that type of stuff.
But are there Olympians who nah, they gonna party till the sun comes up? That's a real thing?
Before they compete?
Yeah.
I hope not. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I'm about to say none of the folks that I was around was doing that.
Like, I got friends who, I mean, it's different because it's not competing for a medal, but I got friends who are professional athletes.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, my teammates are out till 6 in the morning.
Oh.
And then the game is
I can see it.
at 2, and it is what it is.
I mean, like I said, the people that I was around, like my close friends, they were on that, but I could definitely see that being the thing.
And still trying to get a medal.
Yeah.
So what are some of the mentalities, and you don't have to name names or anything, like I'm just saying the mentalities that shock you when you're in there. Like, are there, like I would be shocked at a real Mamba mentality. That would shock me. Like, wow, you're a real person that is like this. But then there's also like the Gronk mentalities too.
Yeah.
What are you seeing in there? Like, is anything shocking or?
I think what shocked me the most, like, just in the whole experience, was seeing how some people really just were just so happy just to be there. I mean, not like in a bad way or good way, but my mentality going into this year was like, I'm gonna win. Like, this, I mean, I wasn't like mumbled out, like I said before, but the goal was to win from the jump.
Yeah.
But just hearing people talking, like, they were just so happy to be there. And it was just, I don't know, it's surprising to me because growing up, when I think of like Olympians, it's like, oh dang, these like the top of the top. They're just like, that's it. They're the 0.1% type of people. But some of them, they were just, I don't know. They were just happy to be there, just happy to be in the village, happy to be in Paris. Like
that's it. They already reached their goal.
That was their goal. Which is, like I said, it's not necessarily a good or bad thing. It's just, it was just different. Like, my goal going in was to win, and I expected to do that. And I think that was something that me and my coach prepared for, and I was in shape and ready to do.
What do you think the average person doesn't understand about the Olympics?
I would say probably that a lot of the sports, I'll speak for track and field specifically, but the Olympics isn't the only race that we train for or run in. You know, I feel like a lot of people think it's just, oh, the Olympics are here, let's start training for the Olympics. You know,
okay.
We have full seasons. We have world champs almost every other year.
Yeah.
We have a whole bunch of other, like, it's probably comparable to like grand slams for like tennis or like tournaments like that. We have things like that all throughout the years. So it's just like, this is my job. Like, I do this every year, every day.
Yeah.
It's not like a Olympics, I'm waiting to LA now, you know?
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people think that.
So we saw you at the Olympics, like on one of your videos, like you was in the scriptures. You know what I'm saying? Is that like, it was like a competition Bible?
Yeah.
You know, what is that? Like
the athlete's Bible that I have for FCA? Yeah, I mean, I grew up in FCA. Do you know what FCA is? Okay, yeah. I grew up in FCA, and that's just something I've always been connected to. There was one point, I think I even like memorized the competitor's creed, which is like, it's like I don't know, it's just a creed that they have for the athletes. But yeah, it's just part of my life. It's not like a...
That's what I was going to ask. How does that weave into... Like, you didn't leave the Bible at home. I'm just wondering, like, how does that weave into your sport? Like, for me in music, it's like obvious because I'm rapping about my faith. But for you as an athlete, like, what makes you distinct as a Christian? Like, what's the difference between you and somebody who may not be a Christian? Like, what do you think is more distinct about you because you are a Christian athlete?
Damn, that's a good question. I mean, when I think about it, I don't think about it as in like I'm trying to weave my faith into my sport. I think of it as in like my faith and my relationship with God is who I am. But I'm just also a professional athlete.
Okay.
And that's just the way I live my life, and that's the way I interact with people, and that it just comes off that way.
Yeah.
Honestly, I sometimes have like a battle in my mind of I almost try too hard not to be overly Christian to where sometimes I feel like I'm not saying what I should say or like standing up the way I should stand up about certain things.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's just me being.
But so I like that though, because that I've experienced that too, especially like in mainstream spaces where, and one of the things, and this might be an encouragement to you, one of the things like that I've learned is the fruit of the Spirit is something that only believers have, right? So it's like you have something no one else has, and the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, gentleness, goodness, self-control.
Yeah.
Like, people don't get to experience love, joy, peace, and patience
Yeah.
if they don't have the fruit of the Spirit. So that's something that we get to offer out there. And people are like, what is that about?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
and
sure.
so I think we get this mindset as Christians, like, I got to seal the deal. You know, it's like we're salesmen. It's like, Jesus didn't hire us to be salesmen out here. Like,
Yeah, I mean, honestly, that's how I felt sometimes.
yeah.
Like, I'm like almost trying to convince someone to be a Christian, or like it's all on me if they don't, you know, come to Christ or not. But no, that's definitely encouraging.
Yeah, man. I think it's dope. And that's why I was asking you the distinction question. I mean, you're already saying it. A lot of it, even early on when you were talking about the patience that you had to demonstrate, or even not like, why me, God, but like, all right, God, you know, I got to move forward. And I think there's some patience in there. And also, man, I think the thing that encouraged me in just your story and your journey is you seem normal. You know what I mean? You don't seem like, we are distinct for sure, but you seem like, to me, I see Jesus as somebody that sinners wanted to be around. Yeah. You know, it's like, I want to be around him. It's not like he's trying to compromise himself to fit in. He's like, like, man, he's loving, he's forgiving, he's this, he's that. And I see you, at least from online, it's like, this is a perfect person I would hang out with. You joking with your friends on the field. It's not like, I don't think anybody would encounter you and feel like, man, he's just so holier than thou. He's better than me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I got that.
Yeah, and that's how, you know, you probably will catch flack for that too, because there's always somebody gonna say you're not doing enough. But, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it has felt that way sometimes, but people got opinions on me.
Yeah, man. No, I love it. I'm when because you know, you're a approachable, friendly person.
Yeah.
What is that like competing against people that you're like friends with?
It's hard, bro. I'll be trying to find a balance of like, because I think when it comes to sports, it takes a certain amount of like just aggression, I guess would be the word.
That dog.
Yeah, that type of thing. Like, you need that in order to, especially for the hurdles, because it's such an aggressive event. But, and then trying to be like, because a lot of the guys are my friends. Like, I'm cool with them. Like, we hang out at meets outside of the races and stuff. Yeah. So sometimes it's hard to make that switch, but I feel like I'm starting to, this past year was a lot better. I feel like I'm getting in the rhythm of being able to do that. Yeah. But I also never want to go too far the other way to where I'm just like, these are just my competitors. Like, you know, not be able to, if time comes, like, share the love of Christ and like minister if that's needed, you know, still be able to do that.
I always look at it like, if somebody breaks in my house, right, I'm going to shoot you. But then I'm going to pray for you. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to call the ambulance to take care of you. That's how I look at it. It's like, hey, man, I just want you to know, as you laying on the ground bleeding, I did not do a fatal shot. You know, I hit the leg because I want you to live, because I want you to hear about Jesus, and I'm going to call the ambulance. So I got to shoot you. But then I'm going to pray for you.
I'm going to pray for you.
You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like,
make sure you make it through.
When the gun goes off in the race, it's like, I got to smoke you, bro. But I'm gonna be here for you when you lose.
Yes, we can pray at the finish line.
That's just my philosophy. I could be wrong.
I got that. I might take that one.
I'm also curious too, man. So I was at the Olympics. Yeah. I posted a lot, and a lot of people were disappointed in me because of the ceremony, and they were like, "How can you support the Olympics?" And, you know, all the backlash. And I don't know, did y'all feel any of that?
Oh, 100%.
Really?
100%. The moment it happened, because we was in the opening ceremony, so obviously we didn't see that part until after, like, social media. It was just going crazy. I just saw so many things. Yeah. And there were some thoughts I was like, bro, like, what's going on? Like, what does this mean for me? Like, what does God want from me in this situation? Like, I don't know. I was not really contemplating, but just processing and thinking a lot of, like, what does this even look like for me the rest of this Olympics? Like, what am I supposed to do? But I think a lot of the other believers that I know and that were in that moment, I feel like they handled it the way they needed to. Like, it wasn't necessarily we need to, like, fight back type of situation. We just need to be bold about our representation of why we are here.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. You're in this space to represent someone bigger.
Exactly.
And a lot of people don't realize too, because I was at the opening ceremony, it was really different. You didn't know everything that was going on because it's all on the I
didn't even see that. Like
I didn't either.
said. Okay, yeah.
So I was like, I didn't see that part. I'm so busy. I'm way over here on this boat.
Exactly.
And then there's another, what's happening? I don't know what's going on at the table.
Yeah.
And, but, and then I think a lot of people were like, condemn the Olympics. And I think for me, I was like, we were talking earlier about my guy, Chris Bates. For me, I knew so many believers in there. And I was like, why would you want to remove people? Like, don't participate in this. Why would you want to take people out of these spaces where they can be a light in a dark world? You know what I mean? And so my guy, Chris Bates, is the, trainer for water polo, which my first time seeing water polo. But you were telling me you just ran into him?
Ran into him at one of the little food trucks they had in the village.
Yeah.
He was out there eating or waiting for some food or something. And then, I don't know, I think I was sitting by myself and he was sitting with one of his other trainers. Yeah. And he saw me and I guess he just said something, said what's up. And then we started talking, chopping it up, talking for an hour and a half. I mentioned you, and then he said he knew you. I was like, dang, that's crazy.
So was I the gateway drug for godly conversation?
Yeah, bro, that's exactly what it was. I was like, dang, this is a really cool dude.
Yeah.
And then from then, I kept seeing him around the village. He kept coming and say what's up. So we just talked for a little bit. And then I think at one point, I think it was either the night before my race or a couple of nights before, I was kind of not really nervous, but I think I was telling him. Actually, I know what I told him. I was telling him exactly like, pray for me that I don't make this about me. But what's crazy is in the moment he told me, I didn't understand in the moment. He said, like he was praying about that. And then he said, I feel like this moment is about you, if that makes sense. When he said that, I didn't understand. And it wasn't until after the race, after everything happened, I was thinking about it and I was like, dang. This really was about me, but not in the way of like, oh, let's lift up Daniel. He's a silver medalist. Not like that. It was like God showing me what He could do through me, even when I'm not perfect.
That's good. That's good.
That's what He was showing me in that moment. He was like, dang, this really was about you. God needed this moment for you, not for anybody else. Yeah, like to show you what He could do.
I was made for God, and He wasn't made for me. And so it's kind of like, oh, this is where He wants to use me.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Exactly. I think of it like this. It's kind of like a story I heard of like a man and a pastor, and he was like in his classroom, there's a glove. And every so often he would tell the Bible students, he'd tell the glove, hey, glove, turn the lights off. Hey, glove, give me some coffee. And the glove, it's obviously just a glove. Yeah. It doesn't do anything. But then one day he's teaching on the power of God in Philippians 3:14, which I know is a big verse for you. And he says, glove, lift up the Bible. And then he puts his hand in the glove and he picks up the Bible. And it's like, that's us. We're the glove. Like, we're just a glove.
Exactly.
God don't need us. Yeah. But He decides to like fill us with His Spirit and like, it's like God don't need you, but it's like, nah, but I'm going to use you right now. Exactly. I'm going to put you in this race. Yeah. And then show us the hardware, bro. Let's see the hardware. This, you know what I'm saying? It's like, we're having this conversation right now because you won. Let me see how heavy. That look heavy, bro.
You got some weight to it for sure,
it does.
Man.
This is heavy.
Deceptive.
But like, we're having this conversation now and listening to you share what God has done in and through you because of this moment. Yeah. So it's like, to me, it's dope to me. And I also think of just the story of Ben-Hur. If you ever get a chance, watch the story of Ben-Hur. But it's like, it's a picture of, someone going through, participating in basically the Olympics. Yeah. But for a different purpose and a different reason. You know what I'm saying? And so this is pretty dope, though. It's like, no one can take this away from you, bro. And it's crazy because it in the grand scheme of things, like, I mean, obviously it's like your life is for God, but this is something dope to be like, here, Lord.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
No, for sure.
That's hard, man.
For sure.
So I'm curious, like there was a study done. You won the silver medal. So there's a study done.
I already know what you're about to say.
Okay,
I
so
already know.
95 to 06 that states that the silver medalists tend to be less happy than any other medalist. They say the silver medalist always looks upward to the gold medalist saying, if I could have only done a little more. And they say the bronze medalist is just happy that they avoided like not getting a medal. Now, you've had a bronze and you've had a silver. So were you happier with the bronze or the silver? Tell us what's going on.
Oh, my gosh. I mean, honestly, well, first, short answer, yes.
Okay.
But long answer, I feel like it's for different reasons. When I got the bronze, that was like my first global medal after having 3 or 4 years of missing the mark, of falling short.
Okay.
Because in 2019, when I made my first team, I got DQ'd in the first round of the World Champs. And then 2021, I didn't make the final. I was like the 9th person out for making the final. 2022, I fell at the World Champs in the first round. So 2023, that was my first World Champs, actually making it through, executing the right way, and getting a medal. So that bronze was like a big, like, finally. You know, like, geez, finally. But then going to this one, honestly, I was excited. Like, it's the Olympics. That's like the Super Bowl for us, you know?
Yeah.
So getting a medal and it being silver, it's great. It's amazing. And I'm thankful. But at the same time, the way that race went and my expectations going into it kind of does make me feel like, I should have got that gold, bro.
So the stats
is true, bro. I'm so mad that it is, but it is. It's true.
That's crazy, man. Like I have so much respect for athletes because it's a catch-22. Like y'all's level of disappointment is much higher because you work so hard.
Yeah.
All year long.
Yeah.
And to not hit the goal is like, can be devastating.
Yeah, for sure.
But then also it can be so like gratifying.
Rewarding, yeah.
Yeah, rewarding when you get it. Versus a musician, like the Grammys are like, it's like everyone's putting in work and we have no, it was just left up to the people to decide.
True,
It's like, man, I worked really hard on this. And y'all decide if I get this. Like I can't.
Yeah, I never thought about that. That makes sense.
So it's an interesting dynamic, but the fact that your identity is wrapped up in the Lord, like I could see that being a battle, a constant battle, because you know you work so hard for something, and then it's like, do you get it or do you not get it? And if you don't get it, like who am I? And the crazy part about it is like as an Olympian, you know you're defined by your times.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Much.
And
time or place.
yeah, so like it's not really a team sport either for you.
Oh yeah.
So it can make it feel like it is you.
Yeah.
Like your identity. I'm just curious, like how do you wrestle with that internally? Just that like
track and field is very much an individual sport, and I hate when people say this, but I hear it all the time. They say like you got to have a certain amount of ego or a certain amount of pride to be successful as a sprinter. Or in sports in general, they say that, but in track and field, the sprints and the hurdles. And for me, it's like I get it. Like I get why they're saying that, and I understand it fully. Mm-hmm. But I feel like that's almost like just the easy way out. Like it's easy to just walk around prideful and like feel that way. Like it looks good on camera, like it looks good in media, but it's a lot harder to have that same type of confidence, but also be humble and like speak good about your competitors and like positive about them in different ways, you know? So it's a really weird balance trying to I feel like my prayer all the time is just less of me, more of you, God. Like I'm doing all of this work on my physical, I mean, and my mental and my spiritual, but like I'm doing this work so that I can be prepared for any moment that God puts me in. Like I was saying earlier, like my goals and everything, like that's there. Like obviously I want to win. Obviously I want to be the best. I want to break the records, but maybe God just wants me to be a professional athlete not have those records, not have those medals, but reach the people that I'm supposed to reach in that moment, you know?
Yeah. It's a really sober perspective because it's like a lot of athletes is like, you know, I'm that dude. I did. You see me? And I think that is your distinction.
Yeah.
Like that is your Christian distinction where people may be just be like, oh, he's a humble guy. But it's like, nah, that's the spirit.
Yeah.
You know, in
No,
me.
it is, because I be wanting to. I mean,
You
it's
see
hard.
it?
Like, you know what I'm saying?
You
Like,
see it.
it's
Yeah.
hard. Especially nowadays with social media, because people love that stuff. You post one thing,
man.
you put the right caption on it, and they like, oh, he's hard. He's him.
Yeah.
He's him.
Timothy.
I hate that, bro. That is the worst. I hate that phrase.
I am curious, like, as we even talking about this, like, I'm like, I think he's a phenomenal athlete. I'm not taking nothing away from him on the field, in the Olympics, nothing. But my man Noah lies. So, you know, Noah's an eclectic individual. He, you know, maybe we'll get him on here one day. But I am curious on a sidebar, like he made a comment about, Anthony Edwards getting a shoe, him not getting a shoe.
Oh, yeah. I remember seeing
and that kind of came out after the Olympics. And then he also talked about, like, world champions or who? Talking about NBA players.
Or what?
Yeah. But I am curious, like, there's, you guys compete on a global scale. Mm-hmm. You're competing against the best people in the world. And there's some athletes that are only competing on a national scale, but they get way more, acclaim and like,
for sure.
Does that bother you I would just say, is that a thing in your space that track and field athletes have to wrestle with?
No, for sure. 100%. Because to put it in perspective, if you can think of the second best guy in the NBA and not just the amount of money he's making, the sponsorships, just the media presence. Mm-hmm. And then you look at track and field, and it's like not even comparable. Probably not even a third or fourth of like financially or media presence, any of that stuff. It's just different. I feel like, but that's the thing. I feel like in this moment now with track and field, a lot of people are understanding that we as a sport need to grow in order for the individuals to shine the way they need to shine. Yeah. I mean, we do have some people that are out there like Noah, Sydney, Sha'Carri, like those people are like household names now because of certain things. But as a sport in itself, track and field still has a long way to go. And I think once that growth happens, a lot of the athletes are going to be able to benefit from their success and the hard work that they put in. Yeah.
Do you feel like if you were a little more like loud and rambunctious that you would get more of that attention?
For sure. And I wrestle with that sometimes too. I'm like, maybe I just need to, do a little bit more, say something crazy on a podcast, say something crazy in the media.
Yeah.
But it's like...
Just say your vertical's better than the NBA players. Just say something wild like that.
Something crazy. But yeah, I have those thoughts, but I'm like, as long as there's nothing that's going to compromise, obviously, my faith and like why I'm here at the end of the day.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Man, I just want you to know, like, we proud of you. And for me to look on, I'm a big time... like we went to the Olympics our first time going, and it was phenomenal. Now we already, like, I'm locked in. I'm going to be there. So I'll be definitely praying to see you there, obviously. You know what I'm saying? Sure. It's probably not going to be difficult for you, but, there's always somebody nipping at your heels.
Always.
But I just want to say, man, I see the distinction, and I'm actually very proud of the distinction that you have, just with the humility, the love, the joy, the peace, the patience, the kindness, bro. Like you may not feel like you just like screaming Jesus from the rooftops, but I think that's why we're a body, and there's some people who are there. The way I look at it is there's some people who are going to be stronger in humble excellence, like yourself. Yeah. There's some people who are going to be stronger in service and like making sure people are fed and helped. And there's some people who are going to be stronger in their distinction and being loud and bold. There's some people who are going to be stronger in like transforming things, and we're going to change the rules here. But I think we all got to work together instead of like fighting each other and like telling you, well, you're not as loud as me. Well, you're not as humble as me. You're not as, you know what I mean?
Yeah, we got different roles.
Exactly, man. And so I just, I appreciate you walking in the lane that God has called you to walk in. And man, keep doing it, bro. It's
Got you.
inspiring. You
Yes,
know what I'm
sir.
saying? I was going to have a whole little hurdle situation set up outside to see what I was made of, but I didn't stretch right.
I feel it. Hey,
You know what I'm saying?
Hey, it's still
So-
off season for me, so I don't know.
Yeah, man. That's dope, man. But I appreciate you, bro. We're honored to have you. And,
Yes, sir.
you know, what can people look for? Like, what's next right now for you? What do you got? It's off season, but when is it ramp
Well,
up?
it's off season. I'm still like doing training. It's just not like full on training.
Okay.
But I'll start full on training a little bit. But next year is the World Champs, and we got that. That's in Tokyo.
Yeah.
That'll be in September, and that's like the Olympics, but just track and field. It's
Where-
that type of competition.
Where you training at right now?
I'm in Greensboro, North Carolina.
Okay.
Training
Every day?
every day, every
Yeah.
day, every
So
day.
you
I'm
think I can
excited.
come up there and get some work with you, bro?
Oh, for
With you?
sure, bro. We at the A&T campus, North Carolina A&T. Pull up.
I'm going to pull up on you, man.
Pull up. Bring your son with you, bro.
I'm going to pull up on you, man. See what I'm made of
Yes,
still
sir.
out here. You know, pull a hamstring on y'all. Nah, it's an honor, bro. Appreciate you, man.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, you can leave that medal here, too, if you want to. So.
I don't know. I don't know about
Dope.
that.